Alright, hello everyone. My name is Haichao, and I'm here to tell you why you should think twice before you tweet. What is the single tool that can allow us to maintain a vast network of social connections, anonymously and freely express ourselves, and even share all the funny cat pictures that we like with our friends? It's true that social media is one of the most powerful tools that we have at our disposal, but with great power comes great responsibility. Today, I'm going to show you a dark aspect to social media and how to prevent yourself from getting caught up in this dark aspect. Before we begin, I have a couple of questions for you. So first, have you ever upvoted or liked content on social media simply because everybody else is doing that? Second, have you ever refrained from making a comment when you realized that your opinion was the minority? And lastly, have you ever made a rude comment on social media that you wouldn't be proud to show your mom because the other person disagreed with you? Well, if your answer is yes to any of these questions, then I'm sad to inform you that you may have already been to the dark side of social media. Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal to these actions? I'm here to tell you that sometimes these actions can lead to very extreme consequences. Take the Boston Marathon bombing case, for example. When the FBI released photos of suspects, the Reddit community went on a wild witch hunt to find those responsible. They circled suspects in photos based on simple criteria such as a man wearing a hat and a backpack. Now, obviously, that just seems like your average Joe. So when this happened, some of the posts became very popular through repeated upvotes, while any criticism was quickly dismissed. This led to a missing student, Sanil Tripathi, being singled out as the sole suspect. And this led to the family of Sanil Tripathi, who was grieving at the time for his loss, to be exposed to online harassment and death threats. So as you can see, there are many cases like this where social media content sharing has turned horribly wrong. So the question is, what happened? Well, the answer lies in the power of the crowd, a phenomenon from social psychology known as groupthink. This is when the group cohesiveness is so strong that it overrides any realistic or alternative opinions and actions, often leading the group to make irrational decisions. So as you can imagine, on social media, we have the power to select those that we interact with and also select the information that we're exposed to due to the many search tools and selective filters that we have. And this leads to the formation of highly homogeneous groups where individuals may share similar beliefs, backgrounds, and preferences. Members from these social media groups tend to strengthen each other's views through a process called group polarization. Before the group comes together, there is a great diversity in the opinions of the group members, and the group average opinion might lean slightly towards a certain direction. But after the group comes together and have a discussion, group members will tend to adjust their opinions to fit the consensus, and this leads to less diversity in the group members' opinions and also a shift towards the extremes for the group average opinion. So once groups are in this polarized state, you can imagine it's easy for them to fall prey to groupthink. And you can recognize this through these symptoms. So first, groups tend to overestimate their power and morality, often encouraging behaviors such as risk-taking and ignorance of consequences. In the Boston bomber case, Redditors were so convinced of their false accusations that they failed to recognize the consequences of their actions. Second, groups tend to be close-minded to dissenting opinions, and often they rationalize their assumptions while dismissing anyone else who might think otherwise. And lastly, group members tend to be pressured to conform to the group opinion, and they do this by self-censoring. In the Reddit case, Redditors who disagreed with the witch hunt were dismissed, or they stayed silent because of a fear of rejection. And this ultimately led to a false sense of unanimity between the group members, where they eventually agreed that Sanil Tripathi was the unfortunate bomber. So if you can imagine that when these symptoms surface, it might be difficult for you to return from this dark side. But I'm here to tell you that there are steps you can take before this actually happens that can prevent groupthink. So first, always allow criticism and open debate. This will ensure that every opinion is going to be assessed critically before everyone jumps on board with it. And second, split up into smaller groups and have discussions with separate people. This will ensure a lower pressure to conform and also the chance for everyone to be exposed to different opinions. And thirdly, make sure that you're not the one dominating conversation and let everyone else have a chance to speak. In general, don't be so quick to click that like button, and also think twice before you tweet or post anything on the internet. Finally, I would like to remind you all that social media is a force for good if you use it properly. And in the end, it is merely a tool, and it is up to us how we're going to apply it. I'm here to tell you that everyone has the power to overcome the tendency for groupthink. And now you have the right knowledge and the right power to ensure that this doesn't happen to you in order to make social media a better place for all. Thank you.